testing. For the few of you who might not know, I am the endlessly whimsical Byron Miyake! Miyake! I thought about the legacy, okay? I want to first and foremost welcome you to the future of the scene, a ballroom town hall on mental health. Tonight, powered by Out Here Health and APLA. Clap it up. Woo! I want to congratulate you guys on being a part of the inaugural audience of this town hall. This is something we want to do more often, so look at you. You guys are here at the birth of it all. It is my pleasure to now introduce your facilitators of the evening, who are also extensions of the Out Here Health program of Healthy Him. Shout out to these two Ryan. We love you down. Yes. I want to introduce my friend, Dwayne Mark Jacobs coming up. And last but not least, how are you? I'm so happy to be here. I need that for the aftermath. Okay? Anyway, last but not least, I want to introduce my brother, who I'm so proud of immensely. Caleb 11 Miyake, move around!
Hello. Like my brother said, I am 11 Miyake Mugler, and this is Dwayne Mark Jacobs. We are so happy that all of you took time out of your Thursday to join us for what I think is a very important conversation for our community. But before we get things started, I would like to introduce our illustrious panel of icons and legends. Give it up. So first off, we have the Queen Mother Supreme of the West Coast, Divine Gorgeous Gucci. We have the father of the West Coast icon, Trey Basquiat. The runway maven, legendary Gia, Tishi Mother, Tishi. And we have my icon, West Coast Emperor of the iconic International House of Miyake Mugler, Zolai Miyake Mugler. I just want to thank all of you again for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with us tonight. We appreciate all that you have contributed to the scene over the years. And we just thank you and give you your flowers and your praises for all that you have contributed to making the scene what it is today. So we're going to do a little pass the mic situation tonight. You're going to pass the mic to the front of you, but our first question is tonight. Before we get things started, I just want to ask the room, is this a safe space for us to discuss these important issues that impact our community? Some of these questions might invoke an emotional response, but they are designed to be impactful and to create conversation that will lead to tangible change within our community. So we all agree this is a safe space?
Yes.
All right, awesome. So the first question is, please, again, tell us your name, your house affiliation, and how long you have been in the beautiful community we call Ballroom.
Yes.
Hey, I'm the Gia Tishi. I'm legendary for Runway. I'm through the House of Tishi.
Yeah.
And I've been affiliated with Ballroom for 16 years.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? I am the father of all fathers,
Yeah.
the King Father, Basquiat Trey. I started in Ballroom with my categories were, I'm a legendary in All American Runway, Body, Sex, Siren, Foot and Eye, and Best Dress. And I've been in Ballroom for 23 years.
Woo!
What's up, everybody? I am the icon Queen Mother,
Divine Gorgeous Gucci, also known as the Queen of the West Coast. I am legendary for realness and sex siren. I have been in ballroom for about 23, somewhere between 23 and 25 years. Let me do the actual math. Ooh, no. 26. It's 26. I started when I was 19, and don't do my math. And it's a pleasure to be here.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can I ask a question? Is it okay if y'all come up? We're not gonna bite y'all. We're not gonna bite y'all. Appreciate that.
They might chop you.
Thank y'all so much. I want to feel close to you. So my name is Zola Niaki Mugler. The icon Zola Niaki Mugler. Legendary for All American. Thank y'all so much for coming up first. Legendary for All American. I've walked Best Rest recently. Just won my first 1,000. Yay. And I have been in ballroom since '97. You count. I won't. And it's an honor to be a guest here at the West Coast. So thank you so much for inviting me.
We love you, icon.
So, like my co-panelist said, I want to thank y'all all for being here today and really like sharing your wisdom and knowledge with us. I want to start the town hall with, what about this community keeps you still involved and in positions of leadership after like all this time, however long it's been?
Well, as of recently, just my impact in creating space for people to feel liberated. I didn't realize how impactful that was until obviously Legendary Season 2. So for me now, it's just receiving that acknowledgement that I have created impact. I think that's what kind of makes me a little bit more apprehensive about how I present myself sometimes. Naturally, you want to lead with your emotion, and sometimes I have to take the high road. So I think for me, it's more so just seeing people and receiving the love.
Oh, for me, wow. Keeps me involved, right? The new kids that come in, I've been such a mentor to the kids for so long. I always just felt like a father figure. Like I say, when I got in ballroom, it was in '99, I think, and within 4 months, I was offered the overall father position of the House of Rodeo. So I've always been like that father figure and a mentor to the kids. So that's I think that's one of the reasons why I'm here, because I still like to help and give my all to all the kids to help them prosper in ballroom, because I like to see everybody shine. Even if you're not my kid or not, I'm gonna help you regardless. The reason I am still in ballroom is to continue to open doors that I know only me and a few can do or would prefer to do. And with that comes a lot of power, and with power you have to have understanding on how to unleash. So I think that my presence here is inspiring for many. If you know my background, if you know my story, I came from the bottom all the way to the top. And I fought my way there tooth and nail with everything that I had and all the support that I could get from my brothers, my sisters, my children. And so I feel like it's always my job to lean back and make sure that there's always going to be more than one door open, whether people like it or not.
Trying to sabotage. So my very reason is for the reason that we're here today, for people like you all that have brought us together, to make sure that the younger generation continues to have a space at the table when they don't give us one. And so like your icon Queen Mother said, when there's not someone in the room that's going to bust that door down for you, that's something that I can do so that you can continue to lead the way this generation needs. And so that keeps me coming and making sure that we have spaces and to enjoy to watch the growth and to be there to guide you when you need.
We love that. All right, so I want to get a little deeper. My next question, and I want to start with our female figures on the panel. How do you feel that gender dysphoria can be impacted by gender-based categories in regards to mental health?
It's so unfortunate for me because I'm just going to be completely transparent, and I understand how ballroom has evolved so much, and the genuine aesthetic and nostalgic part of ballroom was, back in the 70s and the 80s, it was being stealth and learning how to pass and getting through. But for me, that's still not a talent. You know what I mean? And I think that's why ballroom has evolved so much, is because now we kind of rest on talent and not passing. So it's a lot of self-gratification with that category, and I think that's why there's so much of a hindrance to the community, because it's not just competing, but it's on a different level, to where it's like almost saying like, I'm better than you, or you're less than me because I pass and you don't. You know what I mean? So I think that's a lot of the gender dysphoria that stems from that, is because we kind of already are put in a place to where we're not accepted. So to go to a place where you're accepted and then told that it's discriminatory. So it's just like a double standard, and I think that's what creates the dysphoria of it all, because it's like you're already uncomfortable in one space, and you go to another space to feel comfortable, and then you're classified as something else. So it's just like, I think they should just throw the whole category away, honestly.
Ooh, okay, real. That's a real
Yes, so how do you feel gender dysphoria can be impacted by gender-based categories in regards to mental health, specifically like groomers?
For me, it has a lot to do with security and insecurity. In life and in anything that you do, if you believe that you can do it and you put your mind to it, then you can do it, regardless of what anybody says. And so I feel the same as with the category. You don't have to walk realness. If you don't like what goes on up there, don't do it, as in any other choice in life that you make. If you don't like it, don't do it. You have to find what works for you. The dysphoria, for me, it's a little different. Dysphoria is a new door. I'm an old school girl. Just like Gia was saying, it was either you blend or you don't. So my life was just about being a girl, just being present and being myself. And if you accept me for me, I'm okay with that. If you get it on me, I'm okay with that too, because I'm not insecure. That doesn't change how I look, how I feel, what I see in the mirror. I still see a woman regardless of what anybody else sees. And I love that woman.
Amen.
So, no matter what a judge says or how they judge me, when I go home, I'm happy with me because I'm secure.
There's no. Just remember that every category is not, because it's a competition.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
So,
It kind of summed it up for me as well, but I want to I want to say a little bit about that. Like now we're bringing forth the non-binary. To the forefront in our faces now. And I had the discussion with somebody before, and a lot of people in ballroom are not understanding, and I'm like, why? Why you don't understand it? They didn't understand us, so why you can't understand them? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, they are who they are, we are who we are, we ourselves. So why are you giving them a problem for what they want to do? Let them be them, like we just said, be you, love you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm trying to make people understand it, because some don't. And most trans women that I talk to, they don't get it. But then I have to break it down to them and say, some people had the same, and you had the same feeling as well. So you have to understand it. I know it's hard, but you have to understand that they are people too, and that's who they want to be. And I always go back to Thaddeus Allure with now Gorgeous Gucci. We didn't understand him at first, but you know what made us understand him? His fucking confidence. And he was so confident and unbothered about the situation for years. And guess who now? He's the fucking destroyer right now. So to the ones that are like that now, just don't take it as, like I say, and like she said, the space that we're in, we should feel comfortable. You are comfortable. Be comfortable. Be strong about it, and stand on what you are, and stand on it 1,000%.
And just to piggyback on that, for me, even with GNC, it was something as an old school girl, no, I did not understand it, but I didn't understand any of it until someone educated me about it. So my thing is, if you want to bring something forth new to me, then explain it to me so I can get it. So now that I do get it, just like some ghetto girls or some hood fish don't understand why we're film queens and why we decided to be women, because they think we want to be like them. But then once they befriend one of us and understand our thinking, our thought process, and our lifestyle, they begin to change. They go from enemies to fans. So, and why is that? Because I educated them on what I am and what I like and what I am about. And it's not about the duplication of you, it's about being me.
I know that's why.
We love that. So this, we're gonna give a little trigger warning. This next session, we're gonna get a little deeper. We all know that there has been an element of violence within our community. Most recently, we saw violence spark up at the ATO Memorial Day Ball, and then shortly after in Oakland. Violence inflicted on panelists based on judging outcomes. What role do you believe mental health plays in the continued violence within our community?
Right, brother, right!
What role do you believe mental health plays in the continued elements of violence within our community?
I think it plays a major role. I mean, just being the simple fact that, once again, I think this is what they have just mentioned, is just, we have to also understand that this is a competition. You're putting yourself in a place to be judged by a group of people. I think that falls a little short with people that get so headstrong and get so caught up in the competition aspect of things, of being a sore loser. But that also has to do with, like Mother Divine just mentioned, about being secure and having that natural confidence. And I think with us, just as people, it's important to remain confident. And I think within walking any category, that's where it stems from. It stems from confidence.
I think it eats me up a little bit because as we're all parents up here.
Yeah.
And so as parents, we have a responsibility to remind our kids that it's also a competition. And that this does not define you, right? So when we don't make it real for them, they can be in a delusionary standpoint, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody's meant to win everything. Right. Not everything is shade, right? And not everything means attack, right? So sometimes it's important for parents to remind their kids, this is a ball, we're gonna go and have fun, we might win, we might lose, and we're gonna take a look at what happened afterwards, right? Now, as long as anyone's not laying hands on you, this is not a situation where we should be attacking each other, because we created the space so that we don't get attacked, right? So if we don't take a look as parents on how to control the situation, it's gonna continue to spiral. Sometimes parents are the people who are amping it up, right? So I look to my leaders to make sure that there's change, and so that this generation is not killing themselves. Because ultimately, no one should be attacked for the way they judge. No one should be attacked for what they did on the runway, because it's a competition. And we lose the authenticity of what we are bringing to the floor as artists. We are all artists once we step onto that floor. This is our world to create anything. and we tear it down when we allow each other to actually fight against each other for something that we're going to do the next weekend.
Go Shay.
I'll rephrase the last part. What role do you believe mental health plays in the continued elements of violence within our community?
For me, violence comes in different factions. It could be physical, it could be mental, as in mental warfare. It could be verbal. It could just be your presence. I understand that a lot because I have I've dealt with my violence over years. But the difference is violence is the byproduct of a misunderstanding. We have to understand that sometimes passion can be perceived as anger. When we are so passionate about what we do, people can read that as anger. So conception and understanding has a lot to do with how violence can be portrayed. People can portray, for instance, a situation where a person comes up and is very passionate about their house and something that just happened. They want to verbalize that, but that can be taken as violence because all I see is you approaching, and it looks like aggression, but how do we know the difference between aggression and passion? You don't until it's over. Because then you can go back and analyze. He was just passionate about what he was doing. If there was aggression, then that would have went to the next level. Because aggression is to aggress, which is to proceed, continue, go on, get worse.
But if you look at Ballroom, you couldn't come on the floor prior to. What made it so different for people to think that they can't sit and enjoy, that they have to allow their passion to come to the panel?
Because once we see somebody else do it, we all feel like we can do that too. But how did you feel when you saw that person do it before you did it and when you had never done it and you didn't understand it? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Did you think it was cute? Did you think it was embarrassing? So that should determine how you go about what you do. If you thought it was cute, then of course you're gonna run up there and do the same thing. If you thought it was offensive and you cringed, then of course you're not gonna wanna do that.
Thank you, my God.
I can't say a little bit to that because I have been a victim of that one of those situations. But like I kind of tell my kids and personal kids, like you say, it's just a ball. But I know sometimes liquor and drugs can be to the utmost to a lot of the situations when people get the liquor courage in them. Like me, because I'm the sweetest guy ever. Like, you know what I'm saying? You have to really, really do something to me, or me just sometimes, like I say, this can be part of mental health too. When you just take so much in, you take so much, and then you just explode. And I am one of those type of people because I am one of those people that I don't want people to see that other side of me because it can be very, very crazy. Because I prayed on it and asked God to take that away from me because that is something I don't want other people to see and I don't want other people to do. And that's why I tell my kids, like, if it's a chop, it's a chop. Take it and go. We finna come back the next ball and destroy and just keep going and going. You know what I'm saying? So that is one of the things I want to say. Because mind you, I got chopped for the first time in my ballroom career of 22 years. I finally got chopped, and guess what I did?
It's not an insult or disagreeing. It's just the reset button. That's all the chop Like, not this time, Steve.
Go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, one time I was sitting on there. I couldn't leave the stage.
I took my time to North Carolina and was like, all right. I ain't even worried about who did it. I was like,
oh, okay. I'll be back.
I feel like granddaddy for this Christmas, okay. They didn't want to get my feet.
I want all your girls first.
Process.
So outside of the reset that Mother Divine so eloquently just stated, how do you feel we can heal and remove the element of intermittent violence with, No. Sorry, y'all. I was really swept into what you were saying, Mother Divine, so excuse me. So the next question is actually, we have lost so many lives to substance misuse disorder within our scene. What would you say are the leading causes of so many falling prey to substances in our community, and how can we better address these issues? Substance abuse, yes.
Okay, so just to rephrase, we've lost so many lives to substance misuse disorder within our scene. What would you say are the leading causes of so many falling prey to substances in our community, and how can we better address these issues?
Unfortunately, I come from sex work experience, and I think that has a lot to play with our community, unfortunately. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Ed Buck. My nephew Jamil Moore, who was murdered 4 or 5 years ago now. A lot of that comes from that perspective. Also, it also comes with insecurity and uncomfortability with, being rejected from your community, and also sometimes like some people are shunned for being vulnerable and exposing their vices. And I think that's another reason why it's so important for us as a community to not judge people for their substance abuse, but it's also to give them a better direction or a different way out, because a lot of the times for some people it's an escape, and it's really important. For me, I get a little emotional sometimes because even his son, who is my personal father, is now somewhere out on the streets, and he is also a pioneer of the West Coast, and it's just so disappointing because there are so many avenues and attributes and places and convenient things that we can do to help. But in this retrospect, it's important to understand that you can only lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink. You know what I mean? So it's just, at this point, I just feel like it's important for us in these spaces to remain visible and to remain judgment-free, because just like they're dealing with issues, we deal with the same issues, and we never know when it's our turn. That makes sense.
Like she said. But my thing is, when it comes to that, like they say, the substance abuse in ballroom, to me, and I've been noticing lately, is crystal meth.
Yeah.
And like I say all the time, don't be bullied because you see other people doing it and you think you're supposed to blend in with, because you're doing that drug, let me do it too. You know what I'm saying? Don't let nobody peer pressure to you to do stuff that you know that's not good for you. You know what I'm saying? Don't do the drug. You know what I'm saying? Don't let the drug do you. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of kids that I've mentored in ballroom and came up with me, I have lost to that drug, in which I still don't understand it because we don't do it. I don't know how you do it. You know what I'm saying? So you have to look out for those things when it comes to who you're around, and who you think that's your friend is really not your friend. And always remember those red flags. Remember that.
Is that your friend? Is that your friend? Okay, we've lost so many lives to substance misuse disorder within our scene. What would you say are the leading causes of so many falling prey to substances in our community, and how can we better address these issues?
A couple words came to mind. Influence, insecurity, courage, running from something, hiding from something, and then needing something. And not knowing what you need. So you just lean on what feels good at the moment. Substance abuse for me is a very hard subject. I've been doing this for 26 years. I have had a plethora of children, friends, loved ones, used, abused. Some, plenty have passed, and it's definitely a soft spot for me, because it's something that's hard for me to understand, because it's something that I've never necessarily dealt with, and never had the desire to do so. And it took me a while to even understand, because at one time I was a person that immediately turned my nose and shunned even my own children and shamed them for what they were doing. Until I took an understanding that there's something missing. They're doing this because there's a need for something. So as a mother, it took me years to figure out that you can't shame them out of doing what they're doing. You have to understand and love them out of it. And then sometimes you can't even do that. Sometimes you just have to, it's just like going to the theater and you have to watch the whole movie play out. And you have no control of what's happening on that screen. All you can do is sit, watch, and be present. And you wait. And you wait for your time. And your time is when they know that they've had enough. And they'll always come back to you when they hit rock bottom. And that's when you step in. That's what I have learned over the years. I can't intervene. I will not intervene. I will not judge. Do your thing, sweetie. If you can handle that lifestyle, great for you. If not, when the time comes, I'm here. We'll get you a team. We'll get on it. That's all I can really do about it. And that's all I really have to say about it. I have to be kind of emotionless about it, because it's so much wrapped up into it. It will eat me alive, to be honest. Like it's very hurtful. I do shut myself down from it. It's sad. I have children that I watch at this present day that it's almost disgusting when I see them in that particular mode, but I can't do anything about it. But watch and be ready for when they need me.
I think we have to understand that everybody has a vice. My vice is always giving. I give so much that sometimes I forget to give to myself. That's my vice. Helping, right? And so the need to always be there for someone, because I didn't feel like someone was there for me. And so I have to understand what people's vice is and then just be there for them. Ballroom is an escape, right? And sometimes that's not enough. And so to understand what a person's missing, I have to just constantly just be there for when they're ready. And for be there when they're ready means if I have a harm reduction method that I can give them, give it to them. I might not agree with what they're doing, but if I can help them along the journey to not harm themselves any further, then that's what I need to do. No one's gonna understand you and your issue better than you. And so I just need to be on the back end, being ready for whatever is needed at that given time. Because I don't understand what people are going through because I don't walk in your shoes, right? It's very difficult to understand how recreational drugs can play a role in people when they're already been torn down. And so when we're thinking about that, sometimes people just want to fit in. Sometimes people are missing something, but the only thing that I need to make sure is that I have the resources and tools that are available to make sure that they don't harm themselves to where they're no longer here.
Prayer changes things. Pray on it. God will take it away. Trust me.
Come on, Pastor Trey.
So that wasn't actually a mix-up the last time. The first question was, how do you feel like mental health plays a part in, the intermittent violence? So the second part of the question was, how do you all as parents, remove that element in the community? So how do we make sure that that doesn't necessarily, or how do y'all teach your kids in your respective houses to,
Fight prevention, in other words. No,
But-
what? Fight prevention.
Oh, fight eventually.
No, fight prevention, basically. Like, how do we make sure that the violence doesn't escalate? How do we make sure that, you know, people are taking their L's with grace and you know, respect?
Get it.
Well, for me, I tell them to look at my past and look at the mistakes that we made. Not being able to express yourself through words, and not just through words, but through kind words. Or through, I'm not gonna say even kind words, because they don't have to be kind. It can be words that are just not harmful. You can express yourself and tell somebody how disappointed and how angry and just you are with them without tearing them down. And I think now it's a work in progress. But I definitely strive and I work to teach them that some shit is just not necessary. It's not necessary. It's not that serious. Yeah, it pissed you off. Did your bank account go down because of it? Did you get evicted? Did you lose your job? No, so it's definitely not the end of the world. It ain't so great, but it really ain't that bad. And so that is something that I'm learning to install in myself and in my kids. Like, girl, it's okay. Shit happens. And sometimes people do things, let me stop cursing, do things that are shitty. Let me tell y'all who said that was a bad word, because to me it's an adjective or it could be an adverb, period. It's just describing an action. So I don't know what makes a curse word a curse word. I've always said that. That was my argument since grade school. Who told you that that's a curse word? Ain't that? Anyways, but it's just learning to slow down, assess, and really look at it. Like, yeah, sometimes you can get angry at the littlest, minutest things, and then you think about it the next day and you fall out laughing like, oh my God, I was really
Acting a fool.
Yes, I was really bent out of shape off of something that just did not really even matter.
Should have been a pack.
But but then it comes down to the word we were speaking about before. Passion. And things that we are passionate about. And how we show our aggression.
Read that question one more time. I want to make sure I answer it right.
So, the question is, as leaders in your houses, how do you feel we can heal and remove the element of intermittent violence within the community?
So when I'm thinking about creating safe spaces, I make sure that my kids know that what they have to say, they can say it to me at any point in time, right? Because if they don't have a safe space to vent, that vent becomes much more dangerous on the back end, right? So I make sure that they have a safe space to say whatever they need to say. Now, if they come off a little aggressive, I say, now wait a minute, Cookie, like, bring that down a little bit. Let's continue to talk, right? But I want to make sure that they get out what they need, because when they leave my place, I want them to have released some of that tension, some of that stress, so that they're not going out there and doing something that's going to either harm someone and themselves, right? So creating that safe space is very important. Allowing them to have the room and the emotion to let go, so that they can continue to be level-headed as they walk out the door. And maybe they might not be level-headed when they walk out the door, but they do know they can say, okay, I got down the street, I need to come back, right? So making sure that they have that safe space is paramount.
For me personally, I tend to lead with love. I tend to. I'm a work in progress too. Six, okay? But for me, just learning in my longevity in ballroom and just understanding that, like, you have to sometimes take yourself out of the situation and understand where the other person is coming from. And one thing that we always do before we close any discussion in our houses are all hearts and minds clear. And I've been living by that a lot lately, just because it's just interesting to communicate with someone and get a clear perspective, just so you can understand where they are, how to meet them, and how to receive them.
Okay, I think on mine, I want to say is, like we say, we are leaders. What leads you follow? So, as me, as my kids, I say, do you see me acting a fool like that? Why you want to go do it? So, and then I can also say, you never know what that person is going through. Let's talk about it. Don't be scared to talk about what you're going through, because you might do the wrong thing when you go out there and do it. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a lot. That was like the reason why I'm last on this question, because a lot of my kids don't act crazy that I know of. I don't think we ever really had that much problem, because, like I say, I try to tell them like, yo, it's really not worth it. You know what I'm saying? It's really not. You know what I'm saying? But I did have a couple of kids that act crazy every now and then. But you know, those are the ones that, like I say, sometimes like I'm gonna go back to this. Gotta pray. Pray those situations away. Say for instance, like the way you grew up. I say that past, you gotta let it go. You can't bring that over here. So that's why a lot of times I always say it's because I come from a Christian family. My mom was a minister. So I try to minister to the kids the way I was mentored through my mother. So if y'all don't see me acting a fool, y'all don't act a fool either. That's why that one time I had my moment, I had to apologize to the kids because I never act like that. And I don't want nobody to see me act like that. So I don't want you to act like that. So like I say, take that chop and go on.
So I want to take us a little back. We've been talking about mental health this whole time, but I want to ask, what does a healthy mental health look like for each of you, and how does that equate or translate to what you instill in your respective houses? So what does a healthy mental health lifestyle look like to each of you, and how does that translate to what you implement into your houses?
For sure. Self-love. Me personally, I coming into Ballroom, I was a lot younger than everybody else. At that time, I was 14. A lot of my friends, i.e. his older kids, were like 18, 17. I was coming from school, ditching cheer practice to come to his house. And along that time span, it was a lot of no for me. I was like in the shadows. I'm secretly the underdog. No one knows that. But for me, going through those transitions, I was really, really hard on myself. And I didn't take enough time to love on that little person inside of me. And I think that's so important, is to like nurture the kid that's hungry, that wasn't fed, and when I mean by fed, not food, but as in like your ego or the attention or the things that fueled you to be the person you are now. You know, a lot of those things are not technically, like he said, healed from. So you're kind of still hurting yourself by lingering on that little person that you haven't taken the initiative to nurture. But yet and still for me, to answer your question, is definitely self-love.
To reiterate on that, definitely self-love. I would say putting me first. Learning to be carefree.
You got notes. You got notes. You better.
Learning to be carefree. And for me, I don't know about for other people, but for me is expressing myself, learning to open my mouth and letting whatever I feel exit. I don't hold on to things. I say what I have to say, and then I'm on to a new day. I could cuss you out yesterday, and we're gonna walk in, and it's a new day today. You know what I mean? And that's just the kind of person I am. I'm gonna let you know where you stand with me. I'm always gonna be stern and straight up in how I feel and what I believe in. So therefore, if you decide to cross the line, it's something that you definitely were educated on. Because I've expressed myself to you, and I let you know where I stand, and I let you know what I'm gonna take and what I'm not gonna take, and what I'm okay with and what I'm not okay with. So those are things for me that help me stand in my standing, because I know that I said what I said, and I mean what I mean, and I am what I am, and I am who I am, and I'm good with that. And whoever is not good with that, That's fine, because that's an opinion and everybody's entitled to that. I'm not good with everybody. I don't like everybody, but do I respect everybody that respects me? Yes, ma'am. You good to me, I'm good to you. You turn the tables, I will turn them too.
She speaks so much because she's a Sagittarius, I'm a Sagittarius, because if you turn the table, I'll turn the table too. But you gotta turn the table first, because I'm not gonna let you pull me out, right? What I need to do, there's always a rebuttal, right? Honestly, knowing my boundaries and understanding that it's okay to have them is most important for me for my own mental health. I think a lot of times when I didn't know my boundaries and I didn't know what I was or who I was always looking. And so there was no sense of mental health. There was no sense of taking care of myself because I was thinking, oh, well, if I do this and I take care of this, then I'll be okay. And it came to a point where I felt like one time I was just falling in a black hole and I couldn't dig myself out. And that was the moment I was like, I have to care for me. I can't care for anyone else outside of this body right now. And so I have to constantly remind myself each week, take a moment for yourself. Coming to LA was taking a moment for myself. Because after this, I'm going to chill with my family and then I'm going to chill at my hotel, I'm going to relax. Take a moment for yourself. If you feel like you can't find yourself, find a safe space, find a quiet room, and just sit, right? And then try to recollect what is it that you need, and then move with that, right?
My mental health, wow. And how I deal with it, pray. But most of all, like us as Black gays, men and women, trans women, and non-binary, we have to kind of tell ourselves, and we and this was something that we kind of was brought up as Black people. We're worried about what other people gonna say, and so with myself, me growing and me want to enjoy myself and live my life the way I want, I have to say, fuck what they think. I have to go on what I feel and what I want to do, because if I keep worrying about what this person think of me, my life is gonna be a fucking fool. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of my mental health that I had to kind of teach myself, because I was always that person worried about what somebody gonna say about me. You know what I'm saying? So I had to beat that. And I beat that, so I don't care what nobody thinks. If I want to be gay and loud, I'm gonna be gay and loud. If I want to be this and that, I don't care what y'all think. So to y'all and y'allself, let it go. Don't worry about what other people say. And the fact is, it's how you do it. And it's not, some people think like, oh, they don't care what nobody say. No, but it's how you do it. And that's the most important part of it. And that's why when I present myself, it's how I do it and how I want people to see me and take me in. And that's one of my mental health that I kind of had to work on, because I always thought about that and had that in my head. And I keep telling myself, fuck what they think.
So how do we prepare our leaders to adequately address the needs of their members, specifically when it does come to mental health? Okay, one more time, one more again, y'all. So the question is, how do we prepare our leaders to adequately address the needs of their members, specifically when it comes to mental health?
Hold them accountable.
You heard me say safe space a lot, right? And it's important when I say safe space that we actually have that. So at the House of Yakima, we have a check-in. It's a mental health check-in, right? And so as long as you're putting things in place, then you're going to train your leaders, your younger leaders, really. It's really important for younger leaders to know this, that there's a cycle and a system in place. So we have the mental health check-in, which our founder, David Nyakimuglia, is very, very big on now. And it takes some time for people to get there, right? And so he makes sure that we have that monthly. But then it's important for our leaders who are regional and maybe national, international, to do their own follow-throughs, right? Make sure that my phone is readily available. Now, I'm a workaholic, but if 11 texts me, if Byron texts me, I'll say, I'm gonna call you as soon as I leave this meeting, or as soon as I get to my hotel room, right? Making sure that there's always a space that I can allow for you to share what's needed and then follow up with that, right? I don't just check in and be like, okay, everything's good, right? Hey, is everything okay? What do you need? Do you need anything, right? It's a consistent and it's consistent follow through because nothing changes overnight and no one's perfect the next day, right? So making sure that there's that space. I'm gonna say it again and again, space. You have a space right here, right? You have resources right here. Utilize them.
So, the question is, how do you prepare our leaders to adequately address the needs of their members, specifically when it comes to mental health?
It's your tone. Older fish, I forget shit things. That's what I keep forgetting shit. Yes. Like, I can write it down. Yes. Okay, so for me, I try to approach things with love and understanding in a comedic vibe. Like, even in the saddest and most unfortunate circumstances, everybody knows that I'm gonna bust in, I'm gonna say something sarcastic, and we're probably gonna end up falling out in the middle of us crying. And then we're gonna figure out what's going on. So, I would say I inquire about them. Like if I see something that's a little off, girl, what's going on? A little, And then within that, we can open up to what's going on. And for me, it's to be accessible. I don't hide behind the queen, the icon, the mother, any of those things. When I meet people, I'll just say, hi, I'm Divine.
Yes, right where they're at.
Because I want to be accessible and approachable and understood. And I want to be able to understand people because I know that generation mentality changes. And comprehension changes. So in order for me to understand the generation of now, I have to be able to be open and able to take in what they are giving, what they are giving me. And within that, I have to be accessible for them to give me that. I can't walk around like this wicked and furious, angry witch, and everybody's afraid to speak to me, then I don't know what's going on. I'm the one that's gonna be left out the loop. Because I'm not in the know. So I would say inquiring about things and being accessible. And being patient, and like I said, being present and available. Like if you start a conversation with me, I'm gonna finish the conversation. If you start a conversation with me and we're not in a place to finish it, I'll always be like, girl, inbox me, send me a number, let me know what's up, we'll talk. Anybody that's ever approached me, people that I don't know, there's people in this room, anytime they've ever had a question for me, I answer. And I don't answer nasty. You know what I mean? I make myself present and available because I feel like that's part of being community and communicable in communication, period. So I want to be able to be that shoulder for somebody to lean on. You know, a lot of people look and it's like, well, how do you do what you do and how are you the person that you are? Come talk to me, I'm gonna tell you how. I'm gonna tell you exactly how I got like this. And that is that. It's just being open, accessible, and available, and also knowing that they're not always gonna come to you. So if you see a problem, you access it.
I do want to also say the word vulnerable. We have to, we also have to be vulnerable, right? Perfect example, everybody up here also needs some love and attention, right? Someone always needs. I'm gonna give it to you. But I just wanted to shout out because I've had a rough 6 months, and Byron and Levin and Mel, everybody has reached out to make sure that I was okay too, right? Mental health doesn't always mean that the leader is going to lead all the time, right? So yeah, there you go.
I'm carrying all my time.
Listen, no, but for me, relation is everything. When I was coming up in Ballroom, it's right here, not just my rock, but and however my Superman, my savior, my master, my everything when it comes to just understanding, and not just understanding, but feeling relatable. I think that is like one of the most important things is he is my superior, and I've always felt like he's been my leader, but I've always felt like I can relate to him. I can not just communicate with him, but if I feel like he's doing something wrong too, he can receive the information without feeling so superior. And I think that's a lot of the issue with leaders and the next generation is they get so headstrong with that title that they forget that there's a job entailed within that title. And for me as a person of trans experience, I understand that I'm not just leading the ballroom community, I'm leading a lot of the trans girls that are looking to me for more than just a safe space. They're looking to me for name change, for gender affirming, and also for hormone treatment and specific things like that. So there's a fine line between understanding and being relatable, and I think sometimes that's when people really feel like they can come to you and be vulnerable and be their authentic selves. It's like, that bitch is just like me.
I think they kind of answered all the and said what I. Well, like she said, the superior part. I am superior, and I want you to be superior as well, basically. So I'm always an open book. You always can come and talk to me. And what made me I'm gonna say this. What made me kind of take a step back sometime. Of me always leading. So I say, you know what, if they feel this way, well, let me get to their level. So that's what I kind of do as a leader. I kind of bring myself down to your level so I can understand you and you can get me. So Michelle told me this one time. She said, you know what, you are a little controlling. And I said, what? Okay. I had to think about it. And I was like, you know what, you right. I am controlling. I'm a Capricorn because I'm passionate about everything. So I want everybody to be a certain way. So I have to fall back and like everybody can't be the way I want them to be. So I have to fall back and let them go. And if I see them shaking, still come in and say what I need to say. So you can always come to me for anything, and I got it. So did I get that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're in a house and there's a template, you're gonna follow that template.
Yeah, exactly.
That's because this is something you chose to do. It's not something that you have to do.
Okay.
In life, there's one thing, but in my house,
You gonna
that's
follow that
different. You
template.
chose to be in my house, and you choose to do things the way I want them done.
Right.
Now we set them to be done.
Yeah.
So in the beginning,
Like, if you choose for me to be your leader, then I'm going to lead you.
houses were formed to provide safe spaces for displaced as transient LGBT youth. Do you feel that there is still the same need for houses to provide that refuge today?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, there are so many safe spaces, like here, Reach LA, blah, 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 blah. But no offense, but realistically speaking, some kids don't know about those places. You know, some of these kids, they only know the streets. You know, they only know the stroll. They only know the downtown stroll, you know what I mean? So it's important for us as leaders in our community, and also not just leaders, but also the counselors, to go out there and do the footwork. you know what I mean, and go out into those places and not turn their nose up just because, you know, it's interesting because a lot of these opportunities 15 years ago were not present. Like, y'all didn't have jobs 15 years ago. These jobs were not feasible for us. But now that we have these jobs, some of these people in our community, they get in these places and they forget about the kids still on the street, you know what I mean? And it's so interesting to see how the tables turn and people turn the other cheek, you know? So it's very important for us, not just as a community, but more so you guys as consultants, to go out there and be visible and create those moments for kids to understand that we do still have these opportunities and places for them.
I got this. For me, this is a little different. It wasn't houses for me, it was the job of my community. Because before I even joined a house and I felt out of place, I met my gay mother. And funny thing about it, I started Ballroom probably 5 or 6 years before she even stepped into Ballroom. So it wasn't Ballroom, it was my community. It was my trans mothers, sisters, associates that I feel that it's the responsibility. When you see, how do I say this? When you see something and you can relate to it and you understand it, so you know, like, you know depression because you've been in depression and you can see depression in somebody else. It is your duty as that being your trans sister is to go over there and lift that girl up. If it's just to say you don't know that girl, if it's just to tell her that she looks beautiful tonight and you love what she has on, and to hear that coming from you, that is uplifting. You know what I mean? I feel like that is our job. Sometimes, you know, we're not always able to say, oh, we're gonna get you housing, or we can do this, or we can do that, but every little bit counts. Every little bit counts. So I feel like it's not just the house, because the house is just one piece of the community, but it's the community's job to take care of the community, because no one understands us the way that we do.
Very well said.
So do I think that it is, is still necessary for houses to be that home for people when they have none? Absolutely, right? I think being a parent, I've had kids live with me since 2004, right? Kids have keys to my house because I know they didn't have a home, right? I know that they didn't have food. And so if we don't continue that avenue, there are kids that will be misplaced, that will not be connected to services because they didn't come through that avenue of having that family, that house. And so a lot of times, families, houses create that avenue for them to get the services that they need. Had there not been someone like the icon right here, they wouldn't know that they can go further into certain places. It was because their interest in Ballroom, it was because their interest in what he's done that led them to him. And then he led them to this, right? And so it's absolutely imperative that houses still play that role of being the place when no one wants you, that you can go, that you can still have a roof over your head, you can get food, we will dress you, I will make sure that you have a job, I will put a little money in your pocket. When I leave this house, you leave this house too. And you're gonna be looking for a job. And when I come back, we'll eat and we'll talk and we'll continue the process until you're on level ground.
That's a real power.
So, my question is that pertain to the community, everybody, or just people in your house?
So I'm glad you asked that. So I've been in the field of HIV prevention since '97. Albert Santana actually pulled me aside and was like, you need to be doing outreach. And I didn't understand it at the time. I was like, why? He was like, you look good. People gonna listen to what you say. Now back then I did look good. You couldn't tell me shit at all, right? But it was because Albert saw something in me that I was continuing that work. And then I had the honor to have Michael Robinson say, "Come over here, put baby."
Beloved.
And then at that time he wasn't even beloved, but so come here, little baby. And then he continued to show me more. I left my job to do more in the work of HIV prevention because that was what was facing my community more, right? So this is not something that I deal with just house. I don't care who you are. If you are a gorgeous Gucci, a Basquiat, or a Tishy, she's known me forever. Her father is my brother. So when I came to the West Coast, she would come to my hotel, we sit there, we chat, kick it up, right? Nobody can come to the West Coast, to the East Coast or now in the Midwest and say they can't reach me. My home is your home, and I say that to everybody. I don't care what house you are, you're my family because we're of this same family, we're of this same community, and we all need help at any given point in time. And who am I to take away from resources when I can be giving them to anyone?
Come on.
Like a giant tree.
So we have one more question before we open it up to everybody to ask 1 or 2 questions. But you're all legends and icons, which for me I rationalize as you have contributed enough of yourself into the community to be remembered, right? Remembered and revered. What do you want your legacy to be, and how do you want history to remember you?
That's your work boss.
For me, for sure, I took this from my grandmother before her passing. 6 years ago, I started my transition when I was 18. And at that time, my grandmother is from the 60s. She's a Spanish, hothead. Hothead for sure. And I would say open-minded for someone of that generation. Just being the simple fact that she's Catholic, and in that retrospect, my mother is Muslim. So she's already accepted a lot from her, and in my upbringing, it was just, I was the polar opposite. And just experiencing that from her and the genuine love and compassion that she created for me, and being one of the first people to tell me to transition when I turned 17 was so touching. And with that touch, I lead with femininity because of her. So I remain with the essence of femininity, so it would definitely be that.
To remember me? Oh wow, you know what, I actually thought about that question to myself one day. I was like, "Dad, if I leave her, how do I want people to remember? How they gonna remember me?" And I always think about this when she always say, "Trey, you ain't changed a bit. You still that country bumpkin I met years ago." But I'm that humble country bumpkin, father of all fathers, Trey. That's who I am, and I think y'all know that. And y'all know that I love y'all, because I fucking cried for y'all the other day.
No, I'm just kidding. For me, I want to be remembered as the girl that opened the doors.
Yes, Nikki.
The girl that broke the barriers. The girl that did it first. You know what I mean? The girl that made this shit possible. Like, I fought, and at the time, I was fighting for my house, but I was fighting for my coast as well.
Yes.
Because my coast is my house. When I go to the east, we all perceived as one, no matter what house you're from. You are a West Coast girl.
Yeah.
You are a California girl. You are a LA girl. So, I always wanted to be, I want to be the girl that's remembered for fighting for the respect of us and putting us on the map. And making sure that everybody knows that we do our shit. Each and every one of us.
Did you open the audience for questions?
No, I'm just kidding. Ooh, it's a lot of peanuts in the gallery. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just y'all know I like to clown. But no, I just want to, like, to me, I just always want to be like, girl, like we did that for these people. Because y'all don't understand what you see now is not what we had to start with. Like we had to fight, we had to walk, we had to gain visibility out there and respect in order for us to be able to bring anything back here. We had to bring the bread home. We had to bring the bacon home before we could cook it. We had to go out there and get it. In New York. Sitting legends. Right, GL?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And you was not having it.
Period. You know what I mean? It's just so, I always want to be the girl to inspire the other girls, whether it's through my nastiness, my negativity, or other things. You can be all of those, but just still be proceeding toward greatness. Because everybody goes through changes to get to where you gotta go through. It's a whole metamorphosis for me. You know what I mean? But my whole purpose was the bigger picture was to make us visible, gain us respect. Not just me, it was us. Because I'm an icon now. I don't need to do anything else. So everything that I do now is for my community and my house and my people. It's for y'all to continue to be visible. It's for y'all to continue to have opportunities. It's for y'all to be in safe spaces. It's for y'all to come out and feel confident about what you do. And to know that, yes, I'm from the West Coast and I turn it. And I will come to your state and turn you.
I've had a little bit of a different ballroom career. I started in New York, and that's always going to be my playing ground. But then I went to Charlotte, North Carolina, became the father of the Carolinas, and I led them. And then I moved to Florida, and I founded the Florida chapter of Miyake Theater. And then I left Florida, and I went to the Midwest, where that is a very close-knit family.
Yeah.
And I made a chapter there. And so I want to be remembered. Oh, and then I took over the West Coast, and now we're building out here. And so I always want to be remembered as the person who is for everybody. Not just people in my house, but people everywhere. So if you're not in my house, I will still guide you. You want to know what's your best effect? You want to know what's the best balls? You want to know how to strategize? You want to know how to get a job in prevention? You want to know how to get a job in for-profit? I want to be remembered that as a person who, no matter what, helped everyone.
You the plug, you the plug.
Any questions?
Yes, give it up one more time for our legends and our icons. They literally paved the way for us to be here. So we're gonna take two questions, because they're busy people and we gotta get them out here in a timely manner. So does anybody have a question?
I got one.
All right, yes, come up here. Tell us your name and then give us your question, okay?
Hi, my name's Marcel, and I know there's youth that are out there in the streets and everything, and probably there are some that are in your group as parents, but I know that there's a lot of families that don't accept the youth and they get kicked out, but imagine if there's like other parents are interested in like understanding the ballroom scene better. Is there like a way to teach them to like help them understand?
Videos like this. This is an actual opportunity for families to learn, to grow, and to change together. Because it is a continuous and changing process to understand their child, who they did not imagine to be like that when they gave birth, right? And then how to now reimagine who that person is today.
For me, it was dragging my mom to a ball. Because my mom, for one, when I transitioned and being gay and all of the things. My mom was not with any of that. She was an old school Southern girl, and she did not like any parts of it. But, you know, throughout educating, the word of the day, educating her and showing her that, you know, no, we're not heathens that sit out all night and drink and screw each other.
But that lady loved me.
So, you know, it's bringing her, I had to bring my mom to a ball for her to even understand it. Just for her to watch videos and stuff, she didn't get it. So for her to be present in the building and be able to feel the warmth, the love, and the energy in the building, it was a whole new insight for her. Like to me, I'm always my mom's child. But to see her and see me in my glory, it was something very different for her. It was a newfound respect from her. Like, she did not understand who I am in my community, because to her, I'm just her child. So I would say just getting them out there, educating people. Education is a must.
It's key.
And when people always ask me, I always tell them, before I really get into the situation, I'm telling you what it is, I need you to go watch Paris is Burning first. Yeah. To see where I'm gonna take you when you come back and talk to me, and I'm gonna tell you about the whole ballroom situation. So that's kind of like a start for people that want to know.
It's like the handbook.
Yeah, the handbook.
Last question. Come on up.
I got the last question. After my niece.
Inbox us.
Okay, so my first question was going to be, my one question is going to be,
It's 2 questions, period, not 2 questions.
excuse me, I'm sorry. Okay, one question only. So my question only was going to be, during your darkest times, what inspires you to keep going?
Oh,
Give them my child.
Yeah, I will get this out before they did. But my darkest moments, I'm gonna say I do have, even though I'm a leader, I do have my darkest moments. And what gets me out of my darkest moments are these ones right here that I have groomed to what they are now. And seeing them prosper in what I groomed them to be helps me come out of my dark place. Because sometimes they don't know that I get in a dark place. And when I see them shining and keep shining, that brings me out of my dark place.
That's fine.
For me, it would be ego, because I'm not letting no bitch see me hit rock bottom or fail. That's the number one thing. I'm the type of girl. I'm sorry. I'm the type of girl. I just don't believe in letting people see me sweat. I don't believe in, you know what I mean? I'm very good at internalizing and dealing with things, and I have an inner circle. I don't just go home and not speak about it. I have my homegirls that I've been best friends with since I was 15 years old. Some of them are in Ballroom. No, none of them are in Ballroom. I take that back. All my best friends, you know, Wendy, Abdul, Coco, none of them are in Ballroom. They understand Ballroom. They come to balls, but no. Yeah, so definitely, I think it's definitely an ego thing for me. I don't ever want to see people see me fail, because I feel like I am a bridge. If I fail, I am the connection of these 2 destinations. So if I fail, these 2 places will never be connected. That's why I feel I can't fail. I can't fail because I can't let my kids see me fail, because I don't want them to feel like failure is an option.
So I'll be a little vulnerable. I suffer from depression, and it was very important for me to be here tonight because I know other people do too. And so I built a whole nonprofit that actually takes care of Ballroom and focus on mental health. Yeah. And there's some campaigns, and you can check it out, and I'll let you know if you come speak to me. But Ballroom is life. It saved a lot of people, and it still saves people today. Yeah. So when I need a pickup, I come to Ballroom. Yeah. I get my life from Ballroom when I'm drained. this weekend, I'm going to get my life with all of you.
That's it.
Because in my darkest hours, it was Ballroom that I was able to come and create and remind myself who I am. So that's what I
Work lever. Please.
I didn't get an answer. But my answer for that is for emotion. It's really all the fallen soldiers, all of the people that I came up with, that I originally started walking with. A lot of them are not here. My original gay mother was a butch queen, Vogue fan, one of the softest girls, trained by yours truly, is no longer here. My gay father is out on the streets now for me. And even recently, I just want to expose to you guys something that was so dear to me was, you know, being on television and being capable of being the superstar that I've always known to be. And for him to be around and still not be aware of that is so baffling, you know what I mean? So it's just really, for me, just the fallen soldiers. That's just what gets me up. That's what keeps me on the floor. That's sometimes when I don't get a chance to walk, I'm on the panel or after the ball, I'm always the first person to give a critique or give a note. And that also stems from him, you know what I mean? But for me, it's beyond me at this point, and I think that's what keeps me going.
Well, it has been a very impactful night. I believe in giving people their flowers when we have them and not waiting and leaving anything unsaid, but I just want to thank each and every one of you, because each and every one of you on this panel has spoken a word into me and has helped me tremendously, more than you possibly could know. And the part of the reason why we wanted to come together and do this Ballroom Town Hall is to bridge the gap between the generations and create a space for us to have these powerful conversations. And we just thank you for being so gracious with your experience and your knowledge and your love. And we appreciate you all so very much. So give it up one more time for your icon. This will not be the last town hall. We will be singing again. We will be continuing this conversation. Thank each and every one of you for coming out. Take some things. There's still some sodas and snacks back there. We have a lot of amazing programming that we do out here. We have POV Runway Boot Camp Monday nights that is led by my mother, Diamond Miyake Mugler, who's in the back, Byron Keating, Miyake Mugler, Tunde Tishi, and Father of the West Coast, Trey. We also, so for our Black Queer men, we also have our regular Black Queer Talks that's gonna be Thursdays, every Thursday here. So if you have any questions, need support, need services, please DM us at Healthy Him on Instagram. Good night, everybody.